question coming from an ignorant male. I was always told if you're trying to purchase stuff like that for a female, you describe it in fruits. Like, my wife is like a grapefruit, or my life's like a large orange.
I've never had that.
No?
That's
So
weird,
that's totally something made up in my mind,
I feel like
maybe.
that wouldn't work.
That's what I read somewhere, I'm pretty sure.
In Cosmo magazine.
Honestly.
What is it, GQ?
Welcome to the Rom-Com Rewind podcast.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Devin.
And like you, I love rewatching movies over and over again.
You made it here. You found us somehow. You love romantic comedies, which is great because we do as well.
So this is a show where we rewatch rom-coms, break them down a bit for you, maybe take a peek behind the curtain, dig beneath the surface, and decide, does it still hold up?
Today we have Meet Bill. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever, please leave a review. They help more people find us. And if you hear anything on any podcast that you want to talk more about, you want to be a part of the RCR fam, all that happens on our Instagram account. At Romcom Rewind. We got a message from Christina there saying, I absolutely love your podcast. I'm not much of a podcast person, but I'm converted because of you. I now look forward to my commute to and from work. I get so excited to pick a movie to rewatch through you guys in the car. Thank you for reminding me about how absolutely awesome rom-coms are. They are amazing. She says, don't know if you consider this a rom-com, but John Tucker Must Die is one of my favorite movies.
100% it is.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah, I love that one.
We've talked about it before, how we should do that one.
Yeah.
Put it on the list. And if you want to reach out like Christina, at Romcom Rewind on Instagram, TikTok, email, romcomrewind@gmail.com. So Meet Bill is a 2007 romantic comedy directed by Bernie Goldman. Meet Bill is the story of, you guessed it, it's the story of Bill, played by Aaron Eckhart. Bill is a dissatisfied middle-aged man who works for his father-in-law, Mr. Jacoby's bank. No one really takes him seriously. He's kind of the black sheep of the family. He's the VP of Human Resources, a job they just made for him. He's really kind of pushed off to the side in many ways. We quickly find out that Bill's wife, Jess, played by Elizabeth Banks, is likely cheating on him with local news reporter Chip Johnson. He's on the scene. Played by Timothy Olyphant. Meanwhile, Bill is taking this mentorship kid under his wing. The kid is played by Logan Lerman. And there's also a romance with that kid and a mall retail worker, Lucy, played by Jessica Alba. So all this is kind of happening in conjunction. He's going through a little bit of a crisis. All of a sudden, this kid comes in. His world is turned into flux. And that's our lead-in for Meet Bill. What are your thoughts?
God, I'm the Blob.
Move, I can't see.
They hate that I'm working at their bank.
Bill, I need 5 copies of this.
I hate that I'm working at their bank.
Bill, our kids from the mentor program are here.
Hey, Bill. Is this your bank?
Yeah, I have an ownership interest.
You ever go just look at the cash?
I'm sorry.
Oh, this is Chip Johnson.
Nice to meet you. Bye, Jess.
You know him?
No, I mean, I do know. I met him today.
My wife is sleeping with the on-the-scene news guy.
In my mind, this movie had so much potential.
Yeah.
And it just fell flat for me. I think they had some really, really great actors, and I don't know if the script wasn't strong enough, or what, but I just don't get it. The movie was fine. The ending, I was expecting more. The middle, I think I was expecting more.
Wow.
The beginning and the setup was fine. It was good. Like, it's weird. It's a very odd movie because there's parts of the movie that I'm like, oh, okay, like this is well done. And then there's other parts that I'm like, this is kind of cringy and kind of creepy.
Sarah, wow, it's been a while since you've disliked a film, it sounds like.
I don't know if I would watch it again.
Okay.
I don't think I would.
Interesting.
And it's not, and it's like I said, it's a weird movie because it's not that I hated it.
So I think, I kind of agree with you. With that said, I'm going to put this film in a different box than other films in that despite the fact that it had all these huge names, the budget for this was $5 million.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They did not set out to make a ton of money at the box office. In fact, when they released it, it didn't actually have a theatrical release until it was shown at Toronto International Film Festival. And then people were like, oh shit, like maybe we should maybe we should try to sell this or something. So it's really one of those, despite the fact that it has a big cast, they didn't spend a ton of money on it. I don't think they set out to make this thing a massive hit. I think they set out to be like, let's just make something kind of weird and quirky. And that's what it ends up being.
Now that you mentioned that it was at TIFF,
Yeah.
like I asked you this yesterday, like, is it on the cusp of an indie movie? Even though it has big actors, is it on the cusp of an indie movie? I don't know. It might be.
I agree. And the thing is, like, because of the big names, you're like, well, this isn't an indie film. But the composition of the story feels like that, though.
I mean, Matthew McConaughey did Mud, and that was an indie movie.
But that was spectacular.
I know. Yes, you're right. You're 100% right. Mud was really good. But yeah, maybe it was like all these actors had time, read the script, were like, yeah, I could jump on board. I have some time in my schedule. I'll do a quick TIFF indie film.
Yeah, they probably had a bunch of like a wish list on their board. Like, imagine if we had Kristen Wiig in this random role, and like everybody said yes, and they're like, oh shit, now what do we do? Maybe this deserves a theatrical release. It's one thing I will say about it. It is very odd, and it's one of the few movies like there are some films, most rom-coms. Let's be honest, they wrap up all their bows at the end of the movie. And then some leave some questions on the table on purpose.
Yeah.
This film, I at the end of it, I'm like, do I have more questions than answers at the end of this? Yeah. And the answer is yes. I have so many more questions that weren't explained. And that's one thing I will say about it. However, you hit it right on the nail on the head. Like, the cast is fantastic.
Yeah.
Aaron Eckhart is brilliant. Elizabeth Banks is never bad in anything. I find.
I love her.
Right, she is so good. Same can be said about Kristen Wiig and Jason Sudeikis, who kind of both have like this random little recurring role here and there. Timothy Olyphant, he's one of my favorites, actually.
He's good in this.
He plays a slightly unsavory character very well.
Yes.
Like, I don't absolutely dislike him, but I just dislike him a little bit by design.
Right.
Like, he's a character you're supposed to, like, Catch and Release. It's like, I just don't quite like you. But by the end of it, I love you. This one, I don't love him by the end of it, but
you don't hate him.
That's
like,
right.
This movie throughout, like his character throughout it, it's not like you hate him. You're like, oh, I shouldn't like that guy. I don't really like that guy. But it's like, I don't hate him.
Yeah.
Because he's just there. I think that's what it is. They're all just there.
Oh, and I haven't even gotten to Jessica Alba and Logan Lerman, who are the definition of just there in this film.
Yes.
Those two.
They're just there. There's so many characters that are just there and there. Okay,
in fact, 80% of the questions that I have after this movie are entirely those two, which we can get to. But let's dive into Meet Bill.
Okay, so Bill is in a family he hates, a job he hates, and a relationship he doesn't quite particularly like. I'm not going to say he hates it, because he does still love his wife, Jessica, but he doesn't particularly like where they're at. So his family that he is married into is opening, and this is kind of like the opening, I guess, sequence of the movie. His family that he's married into is opening a family chapel at their old Tate High School. And at the opening, the principal runs into Bill in the bathroom and asks if he wants to become a mentor to one of the students. And of course, he is taken aback, so he agrees. And he's matched with the kid, who he actually covers for when the kid flushes weed down the toilet and the principal comes in looking for him. So a few days later...
can we just clarify, by the way? The kid never has a name.
No, he doesn't. Actually, in the credits...
we watched this on Amazon Prime Video, and while watching, I paused it at one point, and I noticed the kid, Logan Lerman.
Right.
Like, what the? Do they not ever give him a name? And then I looked it up. No, they never give this person a name. This person who's like the third biggest character in the movie, maybe?
I would say yes. Maybe, yeah. Second or third.
Somewhere around Elizabeth Banks. It's like Aaron Eckhart, and then those two are pretty important.
Yeah, so he is known as the kid in this movie. And so I would say the whole opening of this family chapel is awkward. You can definitely tell, like Devin said, he's the black sheep of the family. He's, pictures, he's kind of just on the outside of it. When the newscast captures him, it's just his gut hanging off his body.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, it is. He's just a really unhappy person in where he's at in his life. So a few days later, the kid meets him at where he works, which is the bank. This is he's meeting Bill, and Bill tells him, you know what, I can't mentor you. My schedule's too busy, which it's 100% not. But he just doesn't want to handle something else added to his crappy life. So
Can we talk one more thing about the kid played by
yes,
Logan Lerman?
absolutely.
What hairstyle does the kid have in this movie?
Justin Bieber?
Oh, close, Sarah. So close. And in fact, the Justin Bieber, I think, is inspired by what the actual haircut is. The actual haircut, the kid is wearing the Amanda Bynes,
Oh my
she's
God,
the man haircut. It's almost...
It is.
I can't get it out of my head. The whole time I was watching it, I'm like, that's almost Amanda Bynes. Guys, it's the same haircut. Also, Amanda Bynes always wearing like a school person
Yes,
uniform.
Yeah.
It's weird. We should do a side-by-side comparison on our Instagram. Freaks me out a
Who
little
wore
bit.
it better?
Yeah, who wore it better? Amanda
love
Bynes,
it.
she's the man, or Logan Lerman, the kid in Meet the Bill. Meet Bill.
Oh, that's great. we should. I like it. So Bill gets home and it turns out that his wife is cheating on him. He overhears her on the phone saying, oh yeah, they're going hunting this week. Come over 10 a.m. They'll be gone. And also, side note, Bill has a wild addiction to candy bars and sugar.
Specifically Snickers. He has a whole cupboard that's just, I think, filled with Snickers
I love
at his
Snickers.
office bar. Office, he eats Snickers all the time.
Right. So the next morning, Jess is going to tennis and Bill asks if they should diversify their finances. And this is kind of something that's ongoing with Bill. I think he thinks that if he leaves the bank and finds a different job, he'll be a little bit more fulfilled in life. So because of his sugar addiction, he wants to open a Sweet Sweet, which is a donut shop. He wants to get a franchise of this Sweet Sweet and open it. The catch is that they don't do anything, Bill and Jessica don't do anything without Jessica's father approving it. So Bill goes to talk to Jess's dad and he says like, no, why would anybody want to own a donut shop? So that's not happening. But Bill does say like, shouldn't we be less dependent on your dad? So at work, the kid shows up and so are two other kids. And so we find out that through this school program, Bill's father-in-law and brother-in-law are also mentoring, but they've decided that that when the two other kids they are there, they will be grouped in with the kid, and Bill will take care of them throughout the day.
It's a classic thing with Bill's job. They're just, what's the extra shit we can give this guy because we have no idea what to do with him.
So Bill does meet with the donut people, and it's Kristen Wiig and Jason Sudeikis. And
Hilarious.
It is, and they say, you know what, your finances look good, but we can move forward to the next steps in your venture. You have to come to a main store and bring your wife. And then, because she is listed as co-owner of all of your assets. So, of course, in the background of that, if they were to split, she would have half of everything. So the kid goes, we see the kid go to a lingerie store and he buys underwear for Jessica Alba's character, Lucy. She's a sales associate there. This storyline is really weird.
Is that it?
Do you like them?
They're fine.
Would you ever wear them?
Sure.
Do you ever wear them?
It's gonna be $28.75. Do you want them or not? Out of 30?
Actually, I bought them for you.
I'm going to throw something into the mix on the pod. I don't think we've ever discussed. Sarah used to work at a laundry store.
A lingerie store.
Oh, shit. Yes, a lingerie store. My bad.
I mean, I actually used to work at a laundry place for a day.
Like
Remember?
a laundromat?
Remember a day? I got never paid. But anyway, okay, that's
really?
enough.
Oh, I
I've
forgot
told
all
this
about
story.
that.
Yeah, anyway.
Well, more interesting is
Yes.
that you have played the role of Lucy, Jessica Alba,
I have.
in real life. You've
Yes.
worked at a lingerie store.
I have.
In this movie, the kid rolls in and he purchases lingerie
Yeah.
from Jessica Alba's character.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, that's for you.
Yeah. so
He
weird.
pieces out. Which, like, I mean, I guess there's a little bit of swagger. There's a little bit of riz coming from the kid, but there's no way it's not creepy.
No,
You know?
Yeah, and before we dive into this part, the one thing that gets me is that either they should have made his character a little older or made her character a little younger, because the age gap is what is ick about it.
In real life, they're 10 years apart.
That's not terrible.
But, well, if he's a high school kid,
in high school, yes. No, I mean like
they
in
should have
real
made
life.
him a college
Exactly.
kid, and then that would feel a little less.
Yeah, or
weird.
her like first, like it's too weird. But anyway,
Weirdest lingerie stories from Sarah. Your own personal experience. Do you have one of these? Did a
I
kid buy
do.
you lingerie ever?
No, God, no. The funniest thing was when men would come in and ask what size should they buy their wives. Bra,
Yeah,
let's
okay.
say. And we'd say, okay, well, what size is she? I don't know. And then they'd hold up their phone with a picture of their wife, just their boobs, and say, I don't know, what size are they?
Oh no!
And it was
wait,
the
wait,
most
wait! Like fully
naked.
nude?
Yes.
No!
Yes.
Stop it!
Yes.
Sarah, that's so inappropriate.
I know.
Here's my wife's tits.
Yeah.
Put some bra. Put a bra
100%.
on
What
it.
size is she? I don't know. What size is she? And they'd hold up their phone and say, can you tell? I don't really want to look at that. Like, I don't know. Go home, ask her, and then come back and tell me. Or go home and check her own bras that she has.
Has a guy ever been like, she's about your size? What size are you?
Oh, not to me, but I feel like they did to another. Now you say that, and I feel like it's on like the tip of my memory. Not me personally, but I feel like I've heard that story before.
Okay. Question coming from an ignorant male. I was always told if you're trying to purchase stuff like that for a
Yes.
female,
Yeah.
you describe it in fruits. Like, oh, my
right.
wife is like a grapefruit, or oh, my life's like a large
Oh,
orange.
I've never had that.
No,
That's
so
weird,
that's
though.
that's totally something made up in my
I
mind.
feel like
Maybe
that wouldn't work.
that's what I,
Like, but
what I read somewhere. I'm pretty sure.
in Cosmo magazine.
Honestly,
Totally kidding. What is it? GQ?
like Maxim magazine or
Oh
so,
my
whatever the male
God.
equivalent is. I'm pretty sure they
Absurd.
said that.
Okay,
So
that's
that's
funny.
wrong, is what I'm getting.
Melons.
Yeah.
What kind of melons, sir?
They cantaloupe. You could have a. Yeah, you're right. You're
Honeydew.
right. Oh God. Okay. Glad I didn't actually do that.
Yeah, no, there, you know what though? It was like an interesting place to work. And the weirdest thing was when people returned lingerie. Obviously, we would never resell it. That was just, yeah, obviously. But it was like gross when people would return and like they'd have it for a while and then they'd return it. Like it was just, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not
Odd.
okay. So the kid
Yeah.
purchases Lucy some lingerie.
Uh-huh. And that's the introduction to Lucy in the film. And at first you're like, okay, is this Bill's love interest?
That's what I thought too.
You know, like we kind of understand now that Jessica might be cheating on Bill. And so like, okay, this is something that can be, you know, move forward with. Good for Bill. Jessica Alba, woohoo. So Bill goes to, and this is kind of ongoing. So in another scene, Bill goes to the store that his brother owns. It's a sporting goods store, and picks up the guns for the hunting weekend. He's going hunting with his father-in-law and brother-in-law. And he asks his brother if he can borrow his video camera. So Bill goes home and sets it up in his bedroom to see if he can catch his wife cheating on him while he's gone hunting. Oh, yeah, she definitely is.
with Chip Johnson.
With Chip Johnson on the scene, newscaster.
in her. I was going to make a weird joke. I
Okay. What were you going to say?
was going to say like in her vagina, you know?
Oh.
He's on the scene
Oh, my God.
in there.
Yep, right up in there. I was going to say, like, it's weird that Chip is wearing Bill's shirt. Or no, she's wearing Bill's shirt.
Yeah.
She's wearing Bill's shirt.
That feels.
Yeah. His wife, Jessica, wants the tape, but he won't give it to her. And he sees on TV that Chip is currently at a hospital doing news coverage. So Bill goes to this hospital and punches him in the face, and he ends up in jail. And everybody there at the precinct has watched this video and his little acorn.
Yeah, there's a comment about Bill's acorn. The video is now circulating a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's Jessica cheating on Bill with Chip Johnson.
Yes. And like at this point, everyone has seen the video.
What? We all know what Bill's supposed to do in this scenario, right?
100%. Yes.
What does he do?
Well, like if he's cheating on him, like your wife has half your assets. So if you were to leave her,
Thank you.
You can prove
Yes.
that she's cheating and is unfaithful. So
Bring it straight to a lawyer.
Exactly.
Don't punch the guy.
I know.
What are you doing? Okay, I'm glad we're on the
Oh
same
my God.
wavelength.
I was like, okay, so I see what happens here. You know, Jessica Alba's the love interest, okay, and then he goes to a lawyer and he doesn't have, because why plant the seed that she has half of his assets if you're not going to do anything with that storyline?
Or maybe it's just Bill's a little bit of an idiot.
Or yeah, that too.
And here's how stupid he is. because everybody's screaming what you should do.
Yeah. And maybe it goes back to his life that he has put on basically autopilot.
Yeah.
Like he is on autopilot and has been for so long. He needs to like be shaken out of it.
By the kid.
By the kid, yes. So Bill shows up for his mentor thing, and everybody knows that this is the guy, the deranged fan is what he's deemed now.
That's how they spin it on the news station.
And instead of everybody like making fun of him as he walks into the gym for this big mentor meeting, the kid starts clapping and saves him from embarrassment. This kid is stellar. Like, he just saves him from embarrassment. I love his little attitude. Like, he's just funny.
His little Amanda Bynes haircut, you know?
Yeah.
He's
And
the
his
man,
little outfit. So his wife basically, Bill's wife thinks it's over, you know, and I'm just like, what was you, Jessica? You're the one who had the affair. You got caught for it. And now you're like, oh, I'm distraught. My life is over. And I'm like, yeah, you got to reap what you sow.
You're still filthy rich. I think you're going to get over it.
Yeah. So at this point, Bill drives over to Chip's house to talk to them about the videotape because that's what Jessica wants to do. And Bill follows Jessica there and starts shooting at his house. This is my best scene.
The gun down!
Hey, news guy! We're on the scene. It's your house.
Because of how ridiculous and chaotic. And the little piece that I like about it that Jessica mentions later is that Bill doesn't like hunting with his family.
And his family always kind of thinks less of him because he can never shoot a duck.
Exactly. He can't shoot worth his life, but really he can.
I never lied to you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you've never managed to clip a feather, let alone bring home a duck, but you just hit 2 4-inch targets from 30 yards. Who's the liar?
So Bill, it's building a little bit of a story that he's not a total schmuck.
Yeah.
So Bill attacks Chip, and one thing that becomes a recurring joke through the rest of the movie.
Apologize to her. You are gonna get arrested. Let me see that hair. Johnson. Action. Tony, apologize.
Like, apologize to my wife. And that becomes like the catch line for Bill. People see him out in the street and they're like, hey, apologize. You know, they love it. People think that Bill's hilarious.
Yes.
Even though it's a horrible time in his life. He's going through a crisis. His wife is cheating on him, but people are like, hey, you're the apologize guy.
Yeah, apologize, beep, beep. This is driving away. Like, it was just, I liked that part of that too. And, and side note, Chip does have a restraining order against him.
Yeah.
So Jess also took a restraining order out on him as well. But his father-in-law says, you know what? Dinner's on Sunday. You guys have to work it out and come together. So all of this is kind of happening. Bill also has the Sweet Sweet Donut people to check out the location, and they want to see his offices. So that's kind of happening as well. Bill brings them quickly to his offices, and then he somehow gets them out, which is nice. The kid is really great to Bill. He even goes up to the top of the building and fixes his face that has kind of the sign where his face is covered. He fixes that. Kind of gives him, I find the kid kind of starts to give him his dignity back.
And the kid was the reason they got out of because they're like, oh, we'd love to see you around the place a little bit more. And the kid chimes in. He's like, oh, they don't do tours here.
Yeah, he saves Bill on more than one occasion.
Yes.
So they end up going to, Bill and the kid end up going to the sporting goods store that his brother owns. And the kid tells him that in order to get his wife back, he needs to get a new hottie. And
he's got just the one.
He has just the one. His love interest, which is interesting, Jessica Alba, Lucy. And all the while, Bill is not actually staying at home anymore since Jessica has a restraining order on him. He's actually staying at his brother Sergeant's house and his husband, Paul. They kind of decide that he needs new clothes. He needs, his hair needs to be fixed up. All in time for the family dinner in which Bill will be going to pick up Jessica at 7 p.m., which Jessica has agreed to kind of go together and have a mutual understanding and no fighting kind of thing. So at the lingerie store, the kid has convinced Lucy to help Bill choose some clothes after, of course, the kid has paid Lucy. The lingerie store, a very weird scene happens around this time where Lucy has convinced the kid to
do like a
fashion show with women's underwear. But it's just, it's not that it's the whole thing is weird just because of their like age gap and what's happening. It's just odd.
and he's pining over her, and she's
Yeah.
kind of just whisking him away. And then she's like, "But if you try on some of this lingerie, maybe
right. Maybe
I'd
I'll
be
go
your
on a,
friend. or
Maybe I'll
whatever."
go on a date with you.
Yes, that's right.
Like it's just, I don't know. I don't know why it was added in the movie. Like I don't think it was needed,
It's just a quirky indie film.
but it's there. You know, that scene is there.
yeah,
So Bill picks up Jessica at their house and gives her a gift, and it's lingerie from the shop. And then they head to the family dinner, and they find out that Jessica's father, Bill's father-in-law, is running for mayor, and that everyone will be staying as a family and no one will be leaving anyone.
yes. And there's this really funny back and forth with Bill's brother-in-law. I guess he finds
Right.
a pearl, I'm assuming, in an oyster or something.
No, it's from the shotgun from them shooting the
Oh,
duck.
it was a
They're having
pellet.
duck. Yeah.
Oh my God. So he tries to make him eat it.
Yes.
And Bill's like, no. But I think we get the impression that they don't get told no by Bill often. And it's
Right.
this back and forth. Bill's like, no. And the brother-in-law's like, eat it. And Bill's slowly starting to stand up for himself, just a tiny bit.
Yeah, I think the brother-in-law was taken aback by that, which he is such a douche. But anyway, after dinner, Bill and Jessica, they decide to go out for late night coffee. And as planned, Lucy shows up and says, "Oh, hi, Bill. Oh my gosh." And they kind of flirt in front of Jessica, and you can tell that Jessica is jealous, which I think was the ultimate goal.
Of course.
So the next day, Bill has his meeting with Sweet Sweet owners, Jane and Jim, and Bill realizes that he's not going to have Jessica to come with him, which is what they want. So he brings Lucy along, posing as his wife, Jessica, and the kid also joins. The kid is everywhere in his life.
The kid, yeah. Can I ask you some questions? What do we know about the kid?
We know
Give me the full list of things.
we know he smokes
Yeah.
pot. We know he goes to Tate High School.
Mm-hmm.
We know he's a high schooler. We know he likes Lucy. He likes buying lingerie for her.
He likes money.
He has a lot of money.
An astute observation, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to high school, so he therefore must be a high schooler. What we're getting from this is that we know nothing
Yeah,
about this
pretty
kid.
much.
So I want to go through the list, the ultimate list of most inexplicable backstories in a film.
Okay.
Because I think the kid should make the list. The
I
kid gets
agree.
there alongside Benjamin Button from The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. And let me explain.
Okay.
It's a beautiful film.
Yeah.
But literally, if you watch it, they're like, okay, this dude's born as an old man.
Right.
He ages backwards. Deal with it. That's it. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. There's no explanation at the end of it. It's like, this is just happening.
Maybe the book explains it more. I don't know.
Like, even the friggin' Age of Adeline has this whole, like, her heart rate went down. She got electrocuted. And that, like, there was a little bit of reasoning there.
Right. There was like some scientific reasoning, as
Which
to
is
why.
definitely untrue, but
Obviously not real scientific, but
They
like,
tried.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
tried.
They gave a backstory.
Next one on the list, Willy Wonka.
Oh yeah.
Eccentric chocolatier, chocolate factory owner.
Right.
Does he have a wife?
No.
What are the Oompa Loompas?
Right.
One thing.
Several questions are around the Willy Wonka situation.
Okay, I haven't rewatched Willy Wonka in so long, not since
Which
childhood,
one?
like the original.
The OG?
And I also haven't watched the Johnny Depp one either.
Okay.
Do the people die?
Yes.
Like when they're like lost in the factory and he's like,
Well-
oh, they're going down the chute. They shouldn't have eaten the chocolate or whatever.
I believe so, but in my mind, I feel like one or two survive, possibly.
But, like, they're
yeah,
dying,
ultimately
right?
they're dying. Yes, yeah. I think that's kind of the essence
What is
of
his
it.
insurance like, guys?
Well, I don't
the
think he has
liability
any.
in that factory must be unbelievable.
The waivers they would have had to sign to enter.
Exactly. Totally inexplicable.
Oh my god!
Last one, Edward Scissorhands. Guy, scissors for hands.
Lots of them are around Johnny Depp, Tim Burton, eh?
I guess so. I mean, Willy Wonka existed before Johnny
Yes,
Depp,
I know,
so
I know.
he just fit into the role, I
Right.
guess.
Well, and Tim Burton did.
They're
Did Tim
like,
Burton do that
"Who
one?
doesn't really make sense.
Right.
Johnny Depp, he'll be Willy Wonka now.
And he'll have scissors. I mean, yeah, scissors for hands. He'll be down for that. And interestingly, he was also in the movie Chocolat.
And then you have the kid in this film who,
Right.
does he even have parents? Was it like an immaculate conception? He's like a Jesus. He just appeared.
I think
he just exists.
I feel like his parents are very not. I feel like they're very busy. They're very absent in his life.
But see,
and
you're
upbringing.
explaining that. The film doesn't explain that.
I know.
He just apparates into places. He's like a Harry Potter wizard. He
Like
just
I
appears.
said, great actors. The script is missing a little bit here and there.
It's just indie quirkiness, you know?
Sure, it's indie quirkiness. I like that. Let's coin that. This movie is indie quirkiness.
So at this point, we have Jessica a little tiny bit jealous
You're right.
about Lucy and Bill potential.
Yeah. And they actually go through pulling it off with Lucy posing as Jessica, and he gets the franchise. And they then go to pick up fireworks. Yeah. So after he receives, the good news, you got the franchise, whatever, he was also tasked by his father-in-law to go and pick up fireworks for a picnic that's upcoming, where he is going to announce that he is going to run for mayor. And he kind of makes a point to Bill saying, "Don't screw this up."
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, a little bit. And so he goes to put in this order at this firework place company, and the kid goes and actually makes an additional order to his order without Bill knowing, and puts it all in his car.
Doubles up the fireworks.
And then they get high.
Okay, I love this. They get high. They go rock climbing.
Yeah.
I have for you the list of worst activities, places, things to do or partake in while being high.
I
now,
like this.
I'm going to exclude anything that's strictly illegal. Like, obviously. Don't drive.
Right.
But
run around in a sporting goods store owned by your brother and be ridiculously laughing. Right. Mm-hmm.
What do you think's on this list, by the way? I just made this list gut feeling.
Skydiving.
Yeah, okay. So extreme sports that involve heights.
Yeah.
That's skydiving. That's this, rock climbing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you should not have that.
That was a stupid idea.
Like, if anybody actually got high and directed this movie, they'd be like, oh, yeah, like if I'm high and I'm rock climbing, I'm going to look down and freak out a little bit. That's not a good mix.
No.
He's also in a suit the whole time. It
Yeah,
bothers me.
I know.
You guessed right once. Anything else on the list?
Oh, going to a fancy restaurant? I feel like you wouldn't want to do that when you're high.
Correct. Yeah. So I've got don't go grocery store shopping when you're high.
Oh, I mean, you'd buy the whole store.
You'd buy, yeah, just everything gluttonous.
I feel like lots of cheese and crackers. I don't know why. And chips.
Is that what you go with?
I don't know.
Cheese
I
and
love
crackers.
cheese.
My God, you fancy, huh?
I love cheese. Little charcutes.
Don't respond a little shakoots. Don't respond to work emails.
No, that's a horrible idea.
Terrible idea.
Oh God.
Do not watch any dramas. Like, imagine a zombie.
Oh, don't watch a horror.
Don't watch a horror. Don't watch anything like that while high. I said extreme sports, but like specifically that involve heights, because
Right.
like there are a lot of snowboarders or skiers who
Yes.
partake in those activities, and it's lovely because you can do that at a leisurely pace.
Right.
Love that. It's just when you involve heights.
No parasailing
Yeah,
or
exactly.
skydiving or bungee
Exactly.
jumping
Yes.
or you could go sailing, but don't go parasailing.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Don't watch any show with police or drugs or both, like Cops
Oh
or Border Wars. It's an easy way to get paranoid.
Border security.
Don't do anything new is some advice I would give as well. Like, don't try, like, hey, you know what? I've never juggled knives before. Yeah, well, it's not a good time to start.
I'm thinking of like lighting knives on fire as well, or like
Glad you said it, Sarah.
oh, okay.
Anything involving heat or open flame, also on the list.
Like I said, cheese and crackers, don't make pierogies or dumplings, right? Like, choose one or the
Your
other.
mind is going to strange places, right? Are you hungry right now?
I am.
Okay, you are a little hungry.
I
Yeah,
am
okay, I can tell. Because most people, you're like, okay, don't go grocery shopping while high,
Right.
and you're like, right, chips. And you're like, ooh, a little charcuterie board, you know, get some nice cheese, some crackers, a little bit of red pepper jelly in there.
It's like, it's terrible because I go grocery shopping when I'm hungry all the time. And there are many times I've come home where Devin's like, what did you buy? You bought 50 2-bite brownies?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Remember, there was that one time where you went to go pick up literally 2 things Sarah had to grab. She came home with like a Costco sized thing
Of Ritz crackers.
Yeah.
Ritz cheese crackers.
Like
Yep,
the
they were
minis.
delicious. Yep.
Why?
And 2-bite brownies. Anyway.
So they're high and they're rock climbing. I hate it.
And so they end up heading back to the office where Bill works, and Jessica shows up, and Lucy and the kid are there as well. They're just always there. I mean, I think Lucy has now moved on from her job at the lingerie shop and just hangs out with them. I'm totally joking. However, she's always there now. And they end up, Jessica ends up leaving because she thinks that something's going on with Bill and Lucy, and she's still jealous. So Lucy, that night, they end up deciding that they're going to have a fun time and hang out and whatever. So Lucy ends up calling her friend to come to the tent. And the kid convinces Bill that it's a good idea to let Lucy's friend come because he could possibly get lucky, which is what he needs.
My best scene.
Okay. This is, again, another, like, interesting scene.
The tent scene makes no sense.
No.
So we've got Lucy. We've got Lucy's friend.
Also, he's living in a tent right now.
Yeah, he's living in a tent in his brother's backyard. Yeah, Lucy, her friend.
Right.
Younger than them is the kid who's there, who invited them. Which, like, if I'm Lucy's friend, I'm like, what are we doing here with a middle-aged man and a
high schooler?
Like, what is going on?
It's all weird. But here, let me show you my new boob job that I have.
Yes. And then
Do you
they
wanna
start
touch
smoking
them? Like,
weed.
what?
And
dancing.
And then they start dancing. It was just
It was so weird.
And I really think this film is like, let's just get into the hilarity of the bizarre. And I embraced it in this scene. I'm like, stop asking the question why, because you'll never stop asking why. This is just weird and silly.
It's definitely weird.
Sarah yawned that entire time I was explaining that. And she did not stop. Like, the tent scene was not your favorite, hey?
No, it was a whole bunch of weird. Like, it was just an odd scene. I don't know why, again, it was in the movie. Like, what did it... All it did was show that he got laid.
Wait, who got laid?
Well, they made out anyway.
Oh, they made it. Come on, Sarah. It's not getting laid, though.
Okay, I know what that means. Thank you.
Do you want me to explain?
No.
First base.
All I'm saying is, like,
out.
that was the whole point of it, so I just assumed that they slept together. It's the day of the picnic.
Okay.
And Bill brings the kid and Lucy, because why not? Bring them everywhere. And Jessica's there, and so is Chip. So we have, like, a whole mess waiting to happen. And then one of the other students that's being mentored by the father-in-law brings Jane and Jim from Sweet Sweet, which, again, I have a question. How did you know that they were in Bill's life, could be invited to the picnic? Like,
yeah. Also, like, why are you going through so much work to figure out who to get as a franchisee? They're like social workers. They're just showing up unannounced places. Like
I don't.
What is happening?
Yeah. Anyway, and so Bill realizes that he has to get Jess out because
they're going to figure out that Jess, like, Lucy is not Jess.
Exactly.
Jess is pissed that Lucy's there. He's pissed that Chip's there covering it. It's all horrible.
Yeah, Chip is on the scene, but he gets too close to both Jess and Chip, and then security takes him away, saying that he was supposed to be 50 yards away from them at all times. So he ends up taking off in his Jeep, and he ends up crashing his car into the forest, into a tree. He hits a tree, and what's in the back of his Jeep?
All those fireworks.
And they start going off. And it creates like a big scene back at the picnic while his brother-in-law is trying to give his stupid speech, and it's interrupted by all these fireworks. So the kid comes around again, saving Bill with his golf cart.
Hilarious.
And they head to the hospital because Bill obviously needs help.
Yeah, they rip down the highway in that golf cart.
Yeah. Lucy shows up at the hospital and gives a whole bunch of money back to the kid, saying, you know what, you don't have to pay me to be your friend. We're going to be friends nothing more, which I don't know why she had to explain that to him. And that's it. And then Jessica shows up in Bill's hospital room saying that, her father had to cancel the announcement announcing that he was going to be running for mayor. And the whole golf course is a disaster, up in flames, which is hilarious. And Bill says, you know what? Like, I don't really care about what your father thinks anymore. And he tells her, you know what, Jessica, like, we shouldn't be together. He doesn't blatantly say this, but it's implied that our lives suck. Like, we need to move on. He cuts his hair. Since swimming, he's lost, the gut that we saw in the beginning. And he resigns from the bank and he goes to Sweet Sweet, and he's actually he planned to decline the franchise. But Jessica's there and has convinced Jane and Jim to give him the franchise. And Jess tells him after the meeting, you know what, you look great. And he tells Jessica, you keep the Sweet Sweet franchise. I don't even know this is actually what I wanted. And they kind of move on. They sell the house. We kind of, it's implied that they separate, and he moves on to figure out what's next. He does give some advice to the kid though at the end, saying, if you coast in life, you're going to wake up one day and realize that you've coasted and you've missed opportunities to do something that you want with your life. So don't do that. So, yeah.
And that's how our movie wraps up.
I will say, though, one thing.
Yeah.
That the kid basically brought Bill out of his funk and taught him, not to coast in life, etc. They could have at least then given him a name. That's all I have to say. Yeah. He was the reason why Bill came out of the funk. Bill got a name, but the kid didn't. Oh, that's just my thing,
Bill got a name that's in the title. We're meeting Bill this whole time. We've met him. Quick facts.
Logan Lerman's character, the kid, has no name because he is intended to represent Bill's inner child, Arrested Development, and ultimately contrast his dissatisfaction with his life. The similar contemporary hairstyles are to invoke a parallel between the characters to show where Bill began and the kid may end up, respectively.
I wonder if there's a fan theory out there that says that like the kid is just all
we got
Bill's
some like Looper.
Or like a Fight Club.
Yeah.
It's just another part of his own personality or something like that. Could be.
Interesting. In the movie, Bill's father-in-law's character is named John Jacoby. Jan Jacoby is the head of the MICDS middle school where many of the Tate Academy scenes were shot. The movie is also known as Starting Over.
Honorable mentions.
My honorable mention is The Kid with No Name.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to honorably mention Kristen Wiig and Jason Sudeikis.
I was going to, but then I'm not. Yeah. The Kid with No Name. He was one of the best parts of this movie.
He's my what should have been. We'll talk more about him. Yeah. Okay. My honorable mention, however, I thought for sure you'd do. I even have it written down. The easy ones, Kristen Wiig and Jason Sudeikis.
I mean, they were great. And I did love that they were in this movie, but like low key. Because like, it was a nice surprise to see them. I mean, I knew they were in the movie, but I was like, oh, these are the characters that they're going to be playing. Fun.
Right. That's the easy one. The actual honorable mention in this film is the Snickers product placement.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're so right.
I'm convinced this is how that movie made all its money and paid for all these people. It's only a budget of $5 million, but it only made $364,000 at the box office because it was a limited run. 36 theaters carried this movie.
Okay. So it totally is an indie movie.
Oh, it's totally indie.
I like totally went the other way with it when you were like, no, it's not an indie movie. And I'm like,
yeah, that was like outside the podcast. We talked about it. I'm like, no, it's not. And then I looked it up. I'm like, yeah, it kind of is.
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, I was like, I feel like this is indie vibes. Validated.
I'm convinced Snickers kicked in the extra, 400?
I was going to say 4 million.
Yeah, 4 million. 500,000. I'm so bad at math. Anyway, if you watch this, drink every time somebody's eating a Snickers.
I love
and
Snickers.
Especially like they show the logo clearly multiple times.
Yeah.
What should have been?
I wish the script had been stronger, but I also wish like the whole entire movie is about how dissatisfied Bill is with his life. I wish there was an aspect of rom-com in it. So at least it would give the story a bit of closure. Like anyway, for me, but
I agree. My what should have been is just like I have so many questions at the end of this, mainly about the kid. Who is the kid? who are his parents? Why does he exist? Where is he? I'm building it in my mind, a fan theory of him just being Bill's young alter ego, maybe.
All right, I like that.
He's just all imagined in Bill's head, because then it explains a lot more, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Why does Bill want his cheating wife back? Like,
he loves her.
But
Yeah.
she's blatantly like all about Chip for
sure.
And I feel like she also just genuinely doesn't really like him at times.
Oh, at the beginning of the movie, the disinterest you see between the two of them is very blatantly obvious.
Yes.
But I find as the movie continues, you do see some love between them, but it's clear she wants to move on.
Yes.
But again, I just think that it was such a like a lunch bag letdown with that storyline too. Like they just kind of watched it just like slowly like melt,
Fizzle
like
out, yeah.
you know, Salvador Dali's like clocks. Like it just fizzled, and then
imagery.
it just was there, and then it was like, I think we should leave. You can take sweet franchise. Bye. Like it just ended. You know?
Beautiful imagery, Sarah.
thank you.
I've got more, but let's jump right into rewatchability here.
Okay, so my rewatchability is Chemistry 2, Storyline 2.2, Thirst Factor 2, Imagination 2.3, Soundtrack 2, Cheese 1.5 for an overall score of 2 out of 5.
Oh my God. Sarah is mean about this film.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I agree with you on Chemistry. I've got a 2.5 for Chemistry. I've got a 3.5 for Storyline. I got a 3.2 for Thirst Factor. Imagination, I've actually got a 4.
Why?
Because I feel like it's just different. It's quirky. It's odd.
Okay.
We have a middle-aged Aaron Eckhart who's a bank HR manager who hates his life and his wife's cheating. Like, I don't know. I don't know how many stories are told quite like that.
All right.
Soundtrack 2.5. Cheese.
You're giving it higher, aren't you?
Of course.
Yeah, because we have opposite ideas of what cheese is.
4.1 on the
I knew
cheese.
you were going to do
for
that.
an overall score of 3.3 out of 5.
All right.
Which is acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
This has been the Rom-Com Rewind of Meet Bill. If you would like to meet us, you can do so on social media, on Instagram at Romcom Rewind, on TikTok. So many of our conversations with the RCR fam continue on our socials. So if you want to be a part of that, we would love to have you. Throw us a follow, send us a DM. And as well, if you're this far into the pod, you probably liked a little bit of what you heard. Please leave us a 5-star review wherever you are listening.
Thanks for listening.